Hi, it's Toby from Heavyweight MMA. With a difficult man to catch, when he's not out fighting crime, he's in the cage learning to fight. Viktor Lyall, the Impaler. How are you, bro?
Excellent, excellent. How are you?
I'm good, man. What's been happening? You've taken your time getting here. You must be in the thick of training.
I'm just really bad at time, man. Sorry, but yeah, I was training hard and got carried away, and then yeah, it took forever. Sorry about that.
Nah, it's good, bro. I had an hour to wait. I had an hour to look at some of your fights, bro. I'd already seen some, but I had to look again. So looked at a couple of your old fights, fighting in the amateurs, bro, but you're about to turn pro for your big fight coming up. So we'll talk about that straight up. XFC60 card, October 22nd. You're fighting your pro debut against the guy called Jordan Gamble. So how are you feeling for this one, bro?
I feel good. I feel very well prepared. Just ready. I just want to fight, man. Like in the past, fighting's always been a difficult thing for me to really want to do. Like sometimes I'm iffy about it once the contract's actually signed. But man, I'm just keen as to fight. I don't really care about anything else. Yeah.
Man, now the difference between being a professional amateur is a few different levels, right? So you've got your time limits changed from 3 minutes to 5 minutes. But when you look at kind of the skill set and that shown, you guys, the way you fight and some of the other guys in the amateurs is up there with a lot of the pros anyway, right? So what is the real differences to you?
Ultimately, to me, it's no difference. To me, it was just about preparation mentally. I think my skill set's been there for a while. I just wanted to get more comfortable and be in the right state of mind, and now I am. So that's all there is to it.
Yeah, man. So when you talk about that mental preparation, it sounds like you've had a few. Like it's a big challenge for you to be in there and fight, right? Is that true to say that you've got it's something you've had to overcome through the fighting and that?
Yeah. Fighting is just a stressful thing. Like just everything about it, the anxiety of performing in front of a crowd and just all that kind of stuff. The small things that people can guess are difficult. They just are. In terms of experience, I've experienced getting my face busted open. I've experienced bleeding everywhere. I've experienced not being able to see. I've experienced all the mental things you go through in a fight, pain, giving up mentally, all those things. And I wanted to feel all of those things before I really committed to the fight game. And I have felt them, and I'm proud of that. And yeah, that's my readiness right there.
Yeah, man, it's kind of interesting to hear you, like you kind of openly in some of your interviews talk about like probably what you could perceive as kind of things you need to strengthen, or you could say weaknesses and that. But when you're in there fighting from the outsider looking in, you're looking like a beast. Like the way you fight is like someone that doesn't have any problem with anything or any problem fighting, because you're in the middle of it, like throwing down, man. You don't like back off. You're a forward moving, aggressive fighter. So it's kind of unusual to hear you talk, how you talk. Like it just doesn't seem to fit the what we see in the ring doesn't seem to fit the personality when you're talking. So it's kind of interesting. You're an interesting character.
Thanks, man. That makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. Just the way, I guess, who you are on show and how you fight is a manifestation of something within you that, you may not necessarily present day to day. But yeah, that's why we get in there. That's why we fight. I love that feeling. I love being that person. So yeah.
And you said that fighting for you is about facing fears and anxieties. That's correct, right? So how has it benefited you in your life, like learning to fight and be up there in the top level of the Australian sort of scene?
It's just a powerful thing. On the one hand, fighting is a strong meditation to me, where nothing else matters. Money problems don't matter. Your family doesn't matter. The world doesn't matter. Politics doesn't matter. Your girlfriend, if you have one, doesn't matter. All that matters is someone's in front of you trying to kill you, and it brings you into the moment, and you're an instinctual being. Getting to revisit that time and time again, especially with MMA, where it's pretty wild and there's minimal rule set, is just an important manifestation in life. And yeah, furthermore, just facing the fears, facing your anxiety, getting out of your comfort zone, and I just like fighting. It's always been something I'm good at. It's always been something I've gravitated towards. It's in my blood. It's natural to me, and it's good to have an outlet. I always sucked at other sports, but I was always getting in trouble for putting fouls on people, and I just wanted it to get grimy. So that's why I like fighting.
Yeah, man. Even on a lesser level, the training itself is kind of does the same thing as what you mentioned, right? Like when you're training, or
For
at least
sure.
when you're sparring, whether it's grappling, wrestling, stand up, you do have that downtime, right? Like you're not you're not conscious of all the other things going in your life because you're just thinking of the physical sort of thing and the threats to you, right? So I was explaining to someone the other day, it's a nice break. Like the things that people can really benefit from are things that take them away from their daily life or work or problems, right? And combat sports seem to be one, whether you're practicing or at a higher level when you're actually competing, yeah?
Yeah, for sure, man. It's like, playing an instrument, improvising like a guitar or something, but there's also an instinctual, evolutionary, biological danger side to it too, where it's, also very primal. And yeah, it's definitely a beneficial meditation for us to undertake.
Yeah, man. And you said martial arts regulates most men. I think I know what you mean, but can you explain that a bit?
Yeah, easily. It's just we get our egos broken all the time, and we need that as men. We need that as human beings, especially when we're lifting weights, when we're dressing a certain way, looking a certain way, acting a certain way. People never get tested anymore, and that's the problem. They never have the courage to have their ego broken and pick it back up. Like right now, you see that scar on my head. I just got busted open in training, 11 stitches. And that just happens, and you just have to accept that shit. You're not unbreakable. You're broken all the time. It's just part of the game. It's part of life, and it's something in modernity that I think people are trying to escape and not face. But fighting brings us back down to that level, especially when we get busted up all the time.
Yeah, man. And then the training obviously prepares you for stupid things outside in the real world too, as you're pretty famous for back in April, dealing with those couple of gronks out in the street. Like obviously, like a normal person who doesn't have the training that you have, like is going to react differently in that situation. Like you can see you got a certain calmness, kind of almost a serenity about you dealing with it. Whereas, your average Joe Blow deals with that situation. That flight or fight instinct's going to kick in a little bit quicker, I'd imagine, you are still controlled.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's always good to have that in your back pocket and know that you can be in control in situations and look after yourself and people you care about.
That's it. It was kind of interesting hearing you talking about your security experience too, because I'm in the security industry now, have been for like a couple of decades, and yeah, it's interesting to hear like what you were saying about people saying bad things to you and that sort of thing, and that's something with security and police that people don't realize that, it starts out that you're actually affected by these things, but by the end of working in that sort of career, you're not affected by it anymore. You get that thick skin, and that's why I think a lot of police and that are, kind of cold and not the best people when you talk to them because they're used to dealing with that sort of abuse nonstop, right? And the same can be said for security as well. You cop a lot of abuse.
Yeah, bro. One of the main reasons I actually got out of that game, besides for just kind of wanting to move on to other avenues and stuff, was that I was becoming a bad person. I was so sick of people. I was so misanthropic. I was so biased towards dealing with just completing other animals all the time, abusing people. I just wanted to hurt people, and I didn't give a fuck. It didn't matter who it was. I had no tolerance anymore. So yeah, a lot of people can stay in the game and be quite mature about that stuff. But I was getting to the point where I just had no tolerance anymore, and I was going to kill someone. So
yeah,
that's why that incident on the street, everyone's like, "Oh, how are you so calm?" And it's like, man, it's nothing, nothing to what we're used to.
yeah. The nature of security itself is just negative, but what it is, you're there to stop people doing what they want to pretty much. So, it's stopping people coming in, it's stopping people doing something, it's kicking people out. Like the nature of it in a certain industry of security is all negative. And that's what comes down to. You're negative towards people, you're having altercations with them because they want to do something, you don't want them to do it. And it is really negative. It does affect you, man. It does affect you. I felt exactly what you're saying when I wasn't. Now I'm like an office guy, so it's different. But back then, yeah, I definitely understand
Yeah,
what
bro.
you mean. Definitely understand.
Yeah, for sure. For
Crazy, man.
sure.
Hey, so I was looking at your last fight was a nice performance against Sean Olsen for the XFC welterweight amateur belt. That was a great fight, man, and a great way to kind of end your amateur career and then move on to the pros, right?
Yeah, so that fight, it was awesome. I felt really confident the entire time, the lead up to it, the interviews, going into there. Yeah, it was a sick fight. Really proud of that one, and I think I performed really well.
So, talking about your gym, man, Gamebred Academy and Ignite Martial Arts. Can you talk about that? Is Ignite Martial Arts part of Atos? Is that right?
They are, yeah. I believe the jiu-jitsu part is part of Atos. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I actually train with Atos Gym over here in Macau, China, so it's kind of funny. There's all links everywhere in the world.
Cool.
It's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
sick.
can you talk about training at these two places? Like, what are they like as, as academies, and what you feel about them, what connection you have with them?
So Gamebred, I kind of started out at, and I've just learned so much from there. The coaches have come through; they've taught me tons. It's a good family. It has excellent facilities now. It's just the OG gym, and it has such a good team of killers.
Yep.
Everyone's really nice, really respectful, and I just love grinding on those dudes. Ignite's kind of like our sister gym, where Dunstan, like that's Dunstan's gym. He comes down and trains us at Gamebred as well. It's good. Like together, Jason and Ryan kind of have set up a team that I don't know how to describe it. It seems weird because we're in two locations, but it's just lots of killers, man. Like Dave Martinez, John Fraser, all the boys at Gamebred. It's a privilege to get to grind against those dudes all the time, daily, and you get something good out of either gyms. I also think it's interesting. A really cool thing about Gamebred and Ignite is that it's kind of like a throwback to the OG martial arts days when stylistically you can see guys that come from our gym. There's certain things we're good at. There's certain things that we like. There's certain things that all of our fighters can do, and that's because of our coaching and the system we employ. And I know that when you look at our fighters, you can see that's a Gamebred, that's an Ignite guy. So that's a really cool thing as well.
Did you start up there? I think I heard you mention something about your first kung fu class or something. Did you start off in like the traditional martial arts before you went there, or you started off there?
Yeah, so I started off doing Western boxing and kung fu. I also did when I was younger than that a little bit of freestyle karate, and I also did a little bit of taekwondo. So mainly traditional martial arts and boxing was what kind of laid my foundation.
Actually, you threw some sort of in the commentary said something about a crescent kick or something. You kind of just threw that leg up like on the inside a little bit differently. Was that? Did you see that fight, or do you remember that one?
Yeah, I think my kicks definitely had. I had more of a snappy, chambered style of kicking, reminiscent of taekwondo and kung fu. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Less follow through, right? Like I was watching, and the guy said something like, matching him with the Muay Thai or something. I'm thinking it's not Muay Thai style. It's definitely coming from another place. So yeah, kind of interesting.
Yeah, yeah. There's a time like there's Muay Thai kicks are great as well, and I can do them too. It's just matter of yeah, yeah, and just if you want to just bang someone's head off, Thai style kicks are hard, uh, powerful, fast. It's like swinging a baseball bat at someone's head. Conor McGregor said it well actually. He said, "How can you catch a whip?" about his kind of stylistic kicks. They're like whippy, but the Thai style kicks are like a bat. But they both have their place in fighting, of course.
Yeah, 100%. You look at like guys like Adesanya, man. He's got the low kicks like a Thai style low kick, but he can whip them up as well. And he's practicing with a gun Taekwondo guy over there in New Zealand to learn all the kicks just to add to his arsenal. So there's definitely a place, and it's good to know as an alternative, right? Because not everyone knows these sort of kicks and how to defend them now because everyone's stuck in the Thai style. So it's good to have that, that in your arsenal.
Yeah, man, for sure. It's interesting in fighting in martial arts because you can have an arsenal of a million moves and you got to kind of pick and choose what you want to utilize. It's a cool thing about it too. But yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey, and in your interview that I was listening to, I mentioned that you've got some big plans coming up. Sounded like you wanted to be getting out of Australia and fighting internationally. Can you touch on that at all?
Yeah, I didn't want to talk too much about that because I don't want to squander my chances with any promotions leagues. And I respect and I'm grateful for the privilege to fight with anyone at any time. But to be honest, I don't like fighting Aussies. I don't know. I don't want to fight Aussies too much because I feel like they're my people. And we have a hard what's the word region down here as well. To be honest, I personally want to travel around. I want to see what the world has to offer and fight kind of where I can and just learn that way. I definitely have some plans in that realm. Yes.
Yeah, it's talking to Dan Hooker, man. He talks about like one of the benefits of fighting, and one of the things he said he'd be doing even if he wasn't successful is traveling around and fighting because you get so much out of it. You get to experience
Yeah.
cultures, meet a lot of people, train with all different people, get different looks, and there's promotions happening now everywhere. You come this part of the world, there's promotions thrown down all the time in China, Hong Kong, Singapore, everywhere. So you can potentially fight anywhere at the level you guys are at now. But like you said, you don't have to face your compatriots. So I'm kind of surprised that more people
Yeah.
don't. Like, I guess it's cost of travel. The
Yeah,
actual people themselves probably don't want to fly you guys out, but there must be ways around it, to move to a region and fight around a bit. And then
Yeah,
be like,
I agree. I don't know why more fighters don't do it, especially Aussies. Like, yeah, there's just we have so many promotions around, so many different regions to fight in. I think it's really awesome thing. And yeah, I want to be able to look back on my career and say I've had a great experience in different places, and and not just be kind of stuck in one area or one group of people to fight.
yeah, and you get to experience a new place, man. Like even over here, early days, Dan Hooker, Kai Kara France, a host of other guys all came over here to China fighting. And then you've got Adesanya fought in China as well with Blood Diamond, Brad Riddell for parts of their career. And look at them, man. It obviously helps to develop, probably also overcoming more obstacles, like you mentioned about being in another country, coping with a different situation, different language, different culture. It probably builds people as well.
100%, man. I agree with all of that for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, bro, time up. I got to bail. We've been a bit late get here, so I got to bail a little bit early. But thanks for your time, man.
No worries.
And
Sorry about that.
no problem, man. I look forward to seeing you fight and potentially in the future. I'd like to catch you again, maybe going a little bit deeper about your history and training and different sort of ideas you have, because you do seem like an interesting character, man. I think we could all probably learn from having a chat with you.
No worries, bro. I would love to have a chat. Sorry again about the truancy. But
no, man.
yeah, man, I'd love to chat, bro. Appreciate
All right,
it.
man.